All right, listen up, everybody. I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Andy Weir's new book, Project Hail Mary. And I just got to tell you, this book just came out today, May 4th, 2021. I bought it today. I sat down, I read the entire thing in one sitting, and I'm telling you, there hasn't been a science fiction book that's come along in years that has touched me in such a profound way. This thing is full of magic and wonder and emotional moments. And I am I'm floored. I'm literally floored. I usually don't start out a review just automatically gushing about a book, but I just finished it, man, and I can still feel the emotion in my heart. This is like the way you felt the first time you watched the movie E.T. or even Close Encounters of the Third Kind, just when science fiction gives you that sense of wonder that you've never ever experienced before, those first times that you went to a galaxy far, far away. This is what we're talking about. When Andy Weir wrote The Martian and that came out, I thought that was one of the best sci-fi books I'd ever read. If you watch my top 30 science fiction novels of all time, you know The Martian was on there. His second book I liked okay, and I'm going to tell you right now, I think his third book is his best. And that is speaking loads, because The Martian was phenomenal. So let's back up a little bit. We always review the covers first, because I'm a fan of graphic design and illustration. So let's look at the cover of this book, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. The Martian had one of the best sci-fi covers ever. This one's pretty good too. This cover, it's like it's got that big bestseller look to it, just simple design, big font, Andy Weir's name right up front, and the title of the book. So great cover, stands out. I like it. Not only that, but inside there's a map of the spaceship that we spend a lot of time with on our journey, Project Hail Mary. That's the spaceship is called the Hail Mary. So what's going on? I knew I was going to like this book when I read the dedication. The dedication was to John, Ringo, Paul, and George. He dedicated this book to the Beatles, and that plays an important role in the book itself. This book starts out, our main character, he wakes up and he wakes up in a strange environment. He doesn't know what's going on. And we have to piece together, he's all alone, much like our main character in The Martian. He's all alone, he's a scientist, and he has to piece together what's happened to him. He figures out that he's on a spaceship of some kind. There's two other astronauts that should be with him, but they are dead. And he's got to figure out what's going on. The story is told through alternating chapters. It's told in the present, where he's on the ship trying to figure things out, and then it does flashbacks every other chapter to him training for the mission that put him on the ship. What happened is the Earth, the sun, is losing its energy. And humanity knows that they don't have that much time to save humanity before the sun just dies out. And so they put together this project to reseed the sun with energy, but it's going to take these people, and they choose 3 people to go on a mission out to get the stuff that's going to reseed the sun with the energy. Okay, what happens is, just like in The Martian, every step of the way that our main character is going along, Andy Weir does such a great job of explaining the science behind every idea he has. He explains the science behind how a sun might lose its power, how a sun could maybe be repowered, how if you do send people out on a journey, how safe is that? Because they know it's going to be about a 4-year journey to go out to where they want to, and it's light speed stuff, right? And they're like, what is the science between about sending people out on a journey like this, right? And will they die? And he goes into the history of the Soviet space race with the United States and how the Soviet Union studied what it would be like if they sent people to Mars and those people had to live in a capsule for 8 months together. They did studies on this in the Soviet Union, and they realized that the people that they put alone together for 8 months ended up in fist fights every day and wanting to murder each other. So, there's the science behind how do we get people to, bears can hibernate. They can fall asleep for 6 months at a time and come back alive with all their instincts intact and all their memories intact and go ahead and live a life. Well, how do we get people to hibernate? And he goes into the science of all that. And then so they send the 3 people off on the journey, and 2 of them die somewhere along the way, and there's mystery surrounding all of this, and I cannot give away the plot because, oh my gosh, the stuff that happens in this, I did not see coming. This book reminded me of the first time I read those, like, Rendezvous with Rama or the Foundation series by Asimov. This book is right up there with the classics in science fiction, where your mind is filled with wonder and what it's like, what first contact might be like. And I don't want to say any more than that, but I was just at the end of this book. I knew as I was reading a quarter of the way into this book, I knew that I would probably be crying at the end of the book. I'm just like, there's certain things that I can see are being set up here, and I am going to be in tears. And yes, I was there. I'm no baby. I'm not an emotional person, but I'm telling you, I was feeling the emotions, and I could feel the tears, and it was in multiple spots. Not just the end, but throughout. This book is so touching in so many ways, and I don't want to tell you the reasons why it's touching, because it would give away so many of the early plot spoilers. But there are just touching moments throughout this book when this guy is by himself out in space. His 2 crew members are dead, and he's got to figure out, because he's woken up from this hibernation. He doesn't know why he's out there or what's going on, and he's got to figure this out. And he knows it's important, and then every other chapter we're getting the perspective of him way before the journey, when he's training for the journey with his crewmates that are now dead. And I'm telling you, the back and forth and the storytelling, just the present and then the flashbacks and the present and the flashbacks. And I could just tell Andy Weir was building up to a climax that was just going to hit me in the heart, and it did. There were moments where I was just like, I was rooting so hard, and there was heartbreak, and I was rooting, and I just wanted success. And there's a twist, several twists that I can't even speak about much of the book without just sort of almost spoiling it. And I'm just telling you, there's those moments at the end of E.T., phone home, touching fingers, boys on bicycles, riding in the air and the moon and it's just magic, and it's here in this book. And I haven't read it like that since even The Martian wasn't even that close. I haven't read that kind of a book where I just feel like somebody has really put me out into outer space and into the stars and into a gripping adventure, since the first time I read Rendezvous with Rama. And this is even better than that. And Rendezvous with Rama is one of my favorite science fiction novels. But what Rendezvous with Rama and this one have in common, which is just the overall sense of awe and wonder and science, this has heart. Heart. It just has heart. I mean, it's got emotion. It's got a character that you love. And it's got other things in the universe that you come to love. And you want the right thing to happen, and there's decisions that need to be made that are heart-wrenching in this book. And I can't even tell you any more than that, other than you got to read the book. Oh, I loved this book so far. Probably one of the best books I've read in the last 5 years. This just hit every single storytelling note that I love. But then again, I love melodrama. I love movies like the Titanic. I mean, it was just, I cried when Jack Dawson sank into the ocean. I'm that way. I love good stories that make me feel emotion at the end. And by God, this one did it in spades. 10 out of 10 for Project Hail Mary. Gosh, I can't give a review. I can't even give details of what happens in the book without just spoiling so much. So I kept it as vague as possible. As vague as possible. But I absolutely think this is a science fiction classic. 10 out of 10 stars.